The first production of the Captain Catholic series was released on the morning of Thursday, November 16th, 2006, from a public computer on the second floor of the library at the University of Scranton. I had just finished editing Captain Catholic Episode 1 the night before and decided to make it public that morning. So while I was on my way to class, I stopped at the university library to create the Facebook group Captain Catholic Wants You at approximately 8:04 a.m., approximately according to Facebook, and I invited all my Facebook friends to the group. I was hoping my fellow students at Scranton would catch the new episode on their way out the door to class, giving them something to laugh about early in the morning while they were groggy, but more importantly, leaving them with a modern-day moral dilemma to think about throughout the rest of the day. The series was originally intended for college students, especially students at the University of Scranton, but I was hoping that people outside of Scranton would also be able to connect with the series somehow. Fortunately, that ended up happening. The Captain Catholic Facebook group gained over 600 members by the end of the day on November 16th, and dozens of posts were made in the discussion board. People from all over the world were discussing their beliefs in the Captain Catholic Facebook group in a very respectful and meaningful way, and I think they were learning a lot about themselves and each other while they were doing it. Hello everyone. For those of you who don't recognize me without my cape and tights and boots, I'm Tony DeGennaro. I just wanted to make this quick video as a way to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of the Captain Catholic series, as a way for all of us to kind of go back through some old memories, as well as to thank all of you so much for your support of this series over the years. And I'm not the only one who wants to thank you guys, so please make sure you catch the very end of this video to hear a few words from several other actors of the Captain Catholic series. I created the Captain Catholic series for a number of reasons. I was raised Catholic, but my parents never forced their faith on me or brainwashed me in any way. Instead, my parents really helped me to see the beauty behind Catholicism, particularly in the teachings of the Catholic Church. Selflessness, love of neighbor, helping the poor and the vulnerable, and the inspiration that comes from believing in a God who loves you more than you can possibly imagine and who desires for you to share that love with everybody around you. All of these ideas really helped me to find a lot of fulfillment in life, and I was hoping to share the beauty of these ideas with the rest of the world. At the same time, I've just always really enjoyed talking to other people about their beliefs, people of other perspectives. I personally believe in absolutely everything the Catholic Church teaches, but I really just enjoy talking to other people with different beliefs from mine, whether they're religious or political or just basic moral beliefs. I guess I think that a lot of the problems that exist in the world today come from misunderstandings, people not being able to really see the perspective of someone who maybe had a very different background from them. So I really think that when people of goodwill come together to discuss their beliefs on really anything, it really helps create a world of peace. I also created the Captain Catholic series because I was hoping to bring attention to a bunch of particular moral issues. You know, the series offers the viewpoint of the Catholic Church, but I really wanted everyone who's watching it, whether you're Catholic, you're not Catholic, you're not religious at all, I wanted you to be able to watch the series and just see an issue that's presented, whether it's economics, sweatshop labor, immigration, the death penalty. Just look at an issue and see, what is this issue, what's going on, what can we do about it. So I was hoping that the series would help people to look at these issues and to take the information that's presented in the series and do their own research and really form their own position. Of course, though, I always hope that the Captain Catholic series helps people to look away from their own selves and look to see what we can do for the most needy members of society. I'm hoping that the Captain Catholic series helps to inspire people to want to go out and change the world for the better. So I was also hoping that the series would foster dialogue between people of different beliefs. That's something that Vatican II has really emphasized, dialogue among all people of goodwill. So I like to think that the discussion board really accomplished that goal. Over time, the Captain Catholic Facebook group has escalated to almost 1,500 members. I think it was a high of 1,450 just a month ago. This includes people from every continent in the world, aside from Antarctica, because there's just a bunch of penguins there. But so it's really remarkable how many people eventually ended up joining the group. I'm really happy to see that. There's been very heated discussions, but for the most part, the discussions in the Captain Catholic Message Board have been very peaceful, and I think people have learned a lot. I know I've learned a lot from talking to people of different backgrounds. So that's certainly always been very good to see.
Hi, all the Captain Catholic fans out there. My name is GARRETT, and this is probably the first time any of you are seeing my face, even though I've always been mentioned in the credits of the show as a special thanks or a surprise contributor. The original involvement that I had with Captain Catholic started back in the fall of 2006 when I was producing a talk show starring Tony, aptly titled Talking with Tony. And our writing team at the time had come up with this character called Captain Catholic that was going to be helping students around campus with incredibly mundane, ridiculous moral dilemmas. It was all going to be very lighthearted and very, hopefully funny. We'd shot an original teaser, which some clips of that wound up in the actual opening of the show. The original costume that Tony was wearing was just one of his white Pope shirts and a pair of brown khakis that were, really nothing out of the ordinary. After a few weeks of taping, the show kind of fell apart due to a number of different reasons, lack of availability for guests, lack of enthusiasm for the powers that be, and unfortunately Tony wound up leaving the show before we were actually able to film some of the final episodes. But, a few weeks later, I remember rather vividly, actually, there was a Thursday afternoon at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We were everyone was done with classes at the time, I believe. I was on my computer when I hear a knock on the door, and now Tony, at the time, we were living in the same building on campus, and I was on the first floor, and Tony was on the third floor, and I opened the door, and there is Tony staring at me in the full Captain Catholic getup. Now, like I said, originally the Captain Catholic suit that we came up with just had brown khakis and a white t-shirt. Now here he was with these enormous white painted boots, white spandex bodysuit, a white pair of shorts, the Pope shirt, and this enormous cape with the Vatican flag on the back. Now, just imagine witnessing that for the first time, completely by surprise. I literally could barely get the words out to invite Tony to come in. I was laughing so absolutely hard. I thought it was hilarious. I was very, much in favor of the idea. A few weeks later, I remember, Tony getting his first, DV camera at the time. This was back when mini DV was very big. And, I was helping him, just figure out how to use it, how to upload the footage onto his computer. It was, kind of a learning experience for the both of us.
It's amazing to see, what you can do with a tiny, really cheap little camera. The whole series, almost the entire series was filmed on this camera that's filming this right now that, I purchased very cheaply.
Shortly afterwards, I remember him saying, being very enthusiastic about, making Captain Catholic by himself, being able to complete his vision with actors around campus that we knew, who actually wound up being, Mike Scott, Tim Grissy, Matt Bartlett, all them.
Another thing that I think has always made the Captain Catholic series special is a lot of the actors. I was extremely fortunate to find just some incredible actors throughout the series. There's so many actors throughout the series who just really shine, I think. They really, took their parts seriously and had a lot of fun doing it, which was so great to see. That's one of the things I'm most grateful for, is just an absolutely outstanding cast of people who loved being a part of the series, really excited about it. So I'm just extremely grateful to everyone who's ever taken part in the Captain Catholic series. I will always be grateful to all of you guys. I can't thank you enough.
When the first episode came out, I was very, very surprised by not only just how unique the Vision had become, but also how much it had expanded from this very lighthearted, very trivial character, and Tony really wanted it to bring a very strong moral grounds to it, and teach people some moral standings from the Catholic point of view. Like episode 1 dealt with capitalism and greed, as Mike Scott's character flawlessly depicted. Then episode 2 about why Catholics, aside from other Christian denominations, and episode 3 went back to this inherent evil of overwhelming greed and using people to initiate profit and gain. I just remember being watching episode 3, and when I saw the little stinger at the end where it was this foreshadowing of the return of Dick DeGredio, I got struck by this inspiration, and I asked Tony, I'm like, hey, would you allow me to write a script for a feature-length Captain Catholic movie? And I thought Tony was very receptive of the idea, because this character had really become his own, but he was very enthusiastic about having some extra input. So I wrote up a 40-page treatment that summer when I thought, well, what better way to make a movie out of Captain Catholic than to incorporate all the characters that had been there from the beginning. Unfortunately, as most people could tell you, with a very limited budget, and when I say limited, I mean no budget, and different people who were less than enthusiastic to return to characters that they had played, I was a little disappointed that some people that I had written into the script weren't able to be kept to the very end. But of course, the cast that wound up being in the movie, Tony's father, Tony's cousin, Tim Grissia, as always, came through with flying colors. Mike Scott actually really stole the show, in my opinion. I thought the movie actually did a very good job, regardless of how far from my original idea it strayed. I'm not sure if Tony still has the original drafts, but I'm sure I can make that available to anybody who wants to read it. So it was that summer in 2007 that things kind of came together, and shortly afterwards, when it was shot and edited and released, that I really got to see just like how Tony was able to again make it his own unique vision. I thought that was very cool. I'm glad that Tony was able to really keep the character going, and he made 3 more episodes and then 2, basically feature-length films that he just released by himself, which was very, very cool. And it's funny looking back at the original episodes and just seeing how Tony has physically aged since we all began doing this.